So one of the elements we have to deal with in golf a lot of the time is wind. Now, depending where you're located, like in Ireland, perhaps you're dealing with very strong winds, or Texas, or maybe you're out on somewhere in Florida dealing with lesser winds. It really doesn't matter. We're going to have to deal with them at some stage or point in time. So what's the process? Well, let's talk about the yardage, working that out first. And you'll hear that phrase, it's a 2 or a 3 club wind or a 1 club wind. I really prefer giving it an actual number, because in my mind then I can work out the yardage to an actual playing yardage, and that to me just gives me a little bit more confidence, a little bit more focus. So here's what I mean by that. Let's say we're playing, we've lasered it, we've got a 150 to the flag, that's my yardage, and I go, I think this wind is really adding 20 yards. So now that's 170. So I got my actual is 150. I think that's about a 20-yard wind. So that's 170. So now I've got my playing yardage of 170. What do I hit 170? I would go grab, for me, that would probably be a very strong 7-iron, maybe an easy 6-iron, and then I would hit that shot. So that's the first thing. I want to really be very concrete in the number I give to the breeze. Now, does that mean that I'm right at the start? Absolutely not, and that's the second part of what we would do in the process. So as soon as I hit shots early in the round, for example, if I'm on this hole, I'm into the breeze, and I hit my 7-iron, and I think my 7-iron normally goes about 170 max, and I pace it out and I realize that 7-iron only went 150 yards. Then I've got a nice indicator, a nice measurement. Yeah, it is a 20-yard breeze. So the next time I have a hole going in the same direction, I know how to work that out, that I've got a good idea, or at least a better idea. It's about a 20-yard breeze, and I can work that into my calculations. Just a little note on that, just because it's adding 20 on the way into the breeze does not mean that it's taking 20 on the way down. Some down breezes can actually blow the ball down a little bit, so you just have to pay attention to those little wrinkles. But for the most part, that's the process. So you have your actual yardage, your playing yardage, because you're giving the wind, the yardage, a number, and then as you go through the round, you're making notes of how the wind affects it in different directions. So let's talk about the technical side of things. Do I simply just switch clubs? That would be one way to do it. Again, the reason for we're switching clubs is also that we don't feel like we have to really hit hard on that thing. The harder or the more down I'm hitting, sometimes that creates more spin loft. It'll pop the ball up in the air. That's not great for wind play. So when I'm kind of taking these longer clubs, I want to be very sure that I'm not actually trying to hit it harder when I'm into the breeze. That's very important. So if I just went ahead and hit a normal shot, that could work. If I wanted to flight the golf ball down, if I want to lower the ball flight, what changes might I make in the setup? So the first thing I would probably do is have that ball a little bit more in the center of my stance. So for me, we have here a 5-iron, and normally for me 5-iron would be somewhere up in here, my ball position here. So I'm going to have that ball a little bit more in the center of my stance. For me also, when I get set up, when I'm playing into the wind, I actually shift my belt buckle a little bit towards my left side. So instead of feeling me kind of like the weight's on the left and feeling like I'm leaning in there, I nearly preset it. So I actually get my belt buckle here and shift it over towards my left hip. It feels like I'm pushing into that left hip a little bit more. So now I've got ball position back. I've shifted into that left hip a little bit more. Hands are ahead of the golf ball. And from here in the backswing, I'm very much feeling I stay on that left side. So I'm not really feeling I get the weight shift back on the way back. So I've already put myself into that left side. I'm going to feel like I stay there. And as I come down again, I'm on that left side already. Feel like that club finishes nice and low on the way through. So for me, they're the big keys for lowering that ball flight. So if we went through that again, I'm going to get it set up. Ball more in the center of the stance. Shift my pelvis forward, so I'm in that position already. I'm going to go in backswing, feel like I'm leaning on that left side, not really getting back, and then in downswing, really feeling like I finished that club nice and low. So if we got all those things together, we'll get a ball that comes out quite low and falls, or kind of flies, below the wind. Now, the one thing to take into account when we're doing that, as I am hitting more down on the golf ball, I'm hitting downwards on it, I'm moving the ball back, right? It's changing that interaction. What that'll do is it'll push the path of the golf club a little further to the right for me as a right-handed golfer. Now, if I push the path further to the right, the club head path, what I'll get is a little bit of a different relationship between face and path that could create more of a draw pattern. So, what might I do to address that issue? Well, as I would get set up on this next one, I would do the exact same things, ball in the center, shift my pelvis forward, have my hands forward. I'm going to stay on that lead side, but at address, I'm actually going to open my alignment. So I'm actually going to aim a little further left to offset that path that goes right. So everything the same. And now I get a ball that goes a little bit straighter. So just those little wrinkles can be important in terms of if you're making those changes, how does that affect the ball flight? So when we're looking at the technical ideas, okay, how do I want to keep that golf ball down? How do I want to flight it a little bit lower depending on the strength of the wind? ball goes a little bit back, I shift my pelvis forward, I hold that position in the backswing, and then as I come down, I'm trying to feel like that club finishes as low as possible on the way through. And again, just a little adjustment. If I do that and I'm having overdraw patterns as a right-handed golfer, what I'll do is just aim a little further left. That'll offset that path and provide a little bit of a straighter ball flight. But there's some nice tips when you're playing into the wind.